everyone, my name is Elizabeth. My pronouns are she, her. Welcome to my Flosstube channel. This is Savory Sewing. You can also find me on Instagram at Savory Sewing. A Flosstube channel is a YouTube channel where folks talk about their cross stitch, what they're stitching, what they want to stitch, what they're buying for their stitchy habit, all of those things. So if that sounds good to you, I hope you stick around. So today is Sunday, June 16th. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers and father figures and what have you out there. This is Flosstube number 25. Goodness gracious. I was looking at it. My first Flosstube was July 30th of last year, so I'm almost to my 1-year Flosstube anniversary, which I kind of can't believe. So excited about that. It is morning here in Oregon. It's a chilly morning, so I've got some coffee, and I think that's basically the most exciting thing is it is Oregon and it's not 100 degrees yet. Last year in June, actually right around this time, my friends got married 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. We had something that we called the heat dome, and it was 120 degrees in Oregon in June, which is, I think we hit multiple records, and I was in a floor-length wedding dress, or not a wedding dress, I wasn't getting married, bridesmaid's dress in an outdoor wedding. Let me just tell you how sweaty we all were. Anyway, at least we were, the women, most of us were wearing like strappy dresses, which was way better than the men who were in full suits with vests. Anyway, side note, it is not hot here. We are very happy. The weather is beautiful. Yeah, random tangent. Okay, let's talk about stitching. I actually don't have a ton of stitching because it's been a very busy week, 2 weeks here between work, and we are doing some deck repairs. There was a beam that had to get replaced. Y'all don't care, but I've been doing like some manual labor, which is not my forte, and so stitching has suffered. I did have a few things, so I will show you those. It's not very impressive. It's just been busy. So I thought because it is June, and in June I work on all my Craftivism related pieces. So last video I showed you all of my current whips and plan new starts around that theme. And so I thought I would pull some of my finished and fully finished pieces that I have stashed around the house to show you, because I think most of them haven't made it onto Flosstube yet, and I thought maybe you all would like to see some of them. I also do have one fully finished object finally, and then a few whips. I have a couple new starts, and plans will be minor. And then I also have pulled all of the giveaway winners from last video. Last video we celebrated 1,000 subscribers. So again, thank you folks for liking and subscribing and hanging out with me and checking out all my stitching. I really appreciate it. So with that, let's get into the stitching. So I'm going to pull my big fully finished object over here. You can see it, spoilers, first. And so I finished this, I don't remember, last year maybe? Oh, look at all those lights. And then I fully finished it for Pride Month. This is Move Forward in Love by Modern Folk Embroidery. I left the glass on. I might take the glass out. I haven't decided. And I just love it. Everything about it. So I can't remember what this is stitched on. It's a gray. I think it might be a Forbidden Fiber Co. Fabric of the Month in like a gray color. Actually, is it? Actually, it might be Lugana. It might be Lugana from Fiberlicious. It doesn't matter. I stitched on this beautiful gray. I combined 2 versions. So when Jacob released this, there was a monochromatic version and there was a full color version. And the full color version actually has the pride flag here. And it's full coverage and I did not want to stitch it. So I took the words from the monochromatic version and put those in there. And so this is stitched not with the called for. There's a DMC conversion or DMC called for, and then somebody did a floss pack, but I can't remember which floss dyer it was. It might have been Roxy Floss. It might have been somebody else. I just pulled from stash and the colors that made, the colors. So like a red is a red. and orange is an orange, etc., etc. So I absolutely love this. This is just a black frame I actually got at a garage sale for 50 cents the other weekend, and it was perfect timing. I had a frame. I wanted to get it done for June, and now it's done. So that's move forward in love. All right. If I can get it to stand up here without falling over, I will, so you guys can enjoy it. But I don't know. Oh, it is going to stand. All right, there we go. If it falls and clatters, sorry if I scare the crap out of all of you later. All right, so that was my big, fully finished object. Now I'm going to go through this pile of other Craftivism finishes. And I probably won't remember every detail about the stitching, but I at least know who designed them and hopefully the names of the pattern. So I'm going to start. I propped a couple up here and there. So this is one of my favorites. This is Bendy Stitchy Designs. This is the Personalist Political. And I love this. I stitched this with not the called for at all. I know it's on Vintage Country Mocha. And so this is one of my favorites. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, I stitched this in 2022. So, next, I stitched this last year. The theme of my 4th of July party was Dissent. And so this is a little stitched version of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's Dissent collar. The pattern actually also has like a crown. After doing all of this funky back stitching, I couldn't handle it. I don't remember who the designer is. I will put it on the bottom. I know I bought it on Etsy, and it's just stitched on black linen. This is probably chalkboard, and then I put it on a piece of mat board and stuck it on this little cube, and it just hangs out over here. Next, I don't think this pattern is still available. This is Impossible Odds by the Whistletop Stitcher. Jen the Whistletop Stitcher has a floss tube, but she hasn't updated it in a while. And she has an Etsy shop. And this used to be a free pattern on her website, I think is where I got it. I can't find it anymore. I looked this morning, but it says, in the face of impossible odds, people who love their country can change it. It's a quote from Barack Obama. And I do include patriotic pieces like this in my Craftivism. I don't really stitch patriotic in July, but sometimes I feel like it is difficult to be patriotic, and so I feel like it fills that niche in my little stitching categories. So you might not agree, but for me, that's where those things live. But I really love this too. This is just some gray Ada. It was charted in red and blue, and so it's stitched in red and blue, and it's just in this little black frame. And this hangs up basically for Memorial Day, basically May, June, and July. You know, it's beautiful next to my Move Forward in Love. So, all right, I have one more, red, white, and blue sort of thing. This is the little pillow I made last year. This is a kit from Country Cottage Needleworks. It comes with the Belle Soie silk. I don't think it comes with the fabric. I think it's just the silk and the pattern. I think it's just the red, a white, and a blue. I think it was a way for you to try their silk with a little free pattern, or right the other way around, pattern with some free silk. And I just made this little pillow. And so it says Liberty. It's just cute. All right, next, I have one. Oh, this is from Witch's Garden Crafts. This was a freebie on for the election or voting in what year is it? It's 2024. So this must have been 2020? No. Was that long ago that I stitched this? I didn't put a date on it. It very well could be. It says never give away your power. and it was a freebie if you provided proof that you voted that year. It was either 2020 or 2022 because it was a major election year. I think it's going to be a pillow, but it's kind of big for a pillow, so I'm not entirely certain. That's why it's not fully finished. I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful pattern, and I really like the sentiment. All right, next in the pile is, let's go to Ukraine, and then we'll go to Palestine, and then we'll go to Pride, because that's where we are. So in 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, there were a lot of Ukrainian support patterns that were available, and a lot of folks were hashtag Stitch for Ukraine-ing. We're doing sales and stitching Ukrainian things and buying patterns from Ukrainian designers. And these actually are neither. I do have some Stitchy Princess Black patterns, but I forgot to grab them. This actually was from Reddit. I got this from can't remember the username. I'll put it here. I'll see if it's still on Reddit where you can download. This was a free pattern someone on the cross stitch subreddit designed, and it says fill your pockets with seeds so sunflowers will grow where you die. Apparently it's if I'm remembering correctly, it is a like Ukrainian war, not chant, battle cry, if you will. Then you would put sunflower seeds in your pockets and then they'd grow and people would remember. And I just really liked the morbidness of it, and I felt like it is morbid, right? I liked it. I try to stitch Craftivism things, not for just the sake of it, but something I actually want. Like, there's a lot of really great patterns, and well, there's a lot of patterns, great or not, you can judge. But I try to stitch the things that I actually like, and not just stitch them for the sake of stitching them to say that I did. And so that was one of this one, and the blue on top, the yellow on the bottom mimics the Ukrainian flag. So I know it's a little difficult to read, but that is why the colors are the way they are. If you haven't been paying attention and you haven't seen the Ukrainian flag and this pattern on a million things over the last 2 years. The other Ukrainian piece that I stitched was a freebie from Modern Folk Embroidery. This is the Ukrainian word for peace. I'm not going to pretend to pronounce it. And I know I stitched this with a yellow and a blue from Classic Colorworks, and that's all I remember. But I think it's going to be a pillow as well, or something. But you can see I have a lot of these things that are just not finished or fully finished. There's a box, as many of us have a box everywhere that I need to fully finish. But the thing is like I don't need 1,000 little pillows. I also don't need 1,000 little framed things. And so I think I'm going to start finishing things into like useful objects, like pouches that I can use for putting more stitching in, or putting more things in project bags, because they're more functional for me than, hanging a lot of things on the walls. Anyway, side note. Okay, let me grab, I'm going to move this over here, and then I'm going to grab this. Next two pieces are both by Yasmin's Made with Love. This is House Divided. She released this. This was free on her Instagram. I'm not sure if it still is. I know I've showed this on my Flosstube. I think I finished this sometime in December, maybe. And I know it's stitched with Cottage Garden threads. I think it's Hugs and Kisses, which doesn't really fit the vibe of House Divided Cannot Stand, but it's a beautiful variegated red. And then it's just, I don't know what the linen is. It's neutral. But I really like this piece. I've seen a number of folks stitch this. It's in beautiful colors. I think she's got it charted. Actually, I don't remember if it's monochromatic or not. But I will link to these. If I can find links for all of these, I will put them in the description box below. Or at the very least, the designer and the pattern name, if I can't find links. All right. Tuck that back up there. Next piece. Sorry, let me make sure that doesn't fall. All right, the next piece is also Yasmin's Made with Love, and I know I finished this in, I think, the end of December. I believe this is called Stitchers for Peace, and it's also Yasmin's Made with Love, which I think I just said, and it's beautiful. I mean, look at that design work in that dove, like, so talented. And you've got the outline of Palestine, and it's in the colors of the Palestinian flag. Absolutely gorgeous. I need to get this framed. It's a funky shape. It's not quite an 8 by, it won't fit in an 8 by 10, and it's not square, so, but I think it's definitely frame worthy. All right, my last piece, I guess we started with Pride, with Move Forward in Love, and we're going to end with Pride with Dee's 20 Stitches. This is their very first Let's Make a Statement piece. They have a series of them. I think there's 4. And this one says trans rights are more important than boy wizards. This is stitched with dinky dyes, silks, and this is under the sea fabrics. I think it's called like mermaid something or other. They've got it charted on like navy. And so the colors pop a little bit more. And they used a variegated from Brin and Needle. That's the colors of the trans flag, which are pink, blue, and white. I had to just make that work with a blue, a pink, and a white. But I think it turned out really nice. So there's trans rights. Let's Make a Statement number 1 is what this one is. All right, I think that is all. I know I've stitched a few other like more patriotic pieces, but I know I gifted them to my mom. And I have one more Stitch for Ukraine piece from Stitchy Princess. Or maybe it's Cute Pet. No, it's Stitchy Princess that I forgot to grab, but it's adorable. If I find a picture of it, I'll put it here. It's got owls on it. So those are all my Craftivism finishes and fully finishes. What's next in the file? Let's move on to whips. I only stitched on a few things. All right, excuse my reach. I only have so much room in front of me here with all of the devices to make this happen, so things get piled. All right, so again, it was busy, so I noticed a theme in my stitching, and that is I basically only stitched on things that required like one color and were easy. So this is a little bit lackluster. I don't know why I'm apologizing. Sorry, folks. My stitching's been lackluster for the last 2 weeks. I'm sure you all understand and have those weeks too. But it is kind of fun to only stitch basically in DMC 310 and do easy stitching sometimes. So, all right. So this is my first whip that I worked on. Excuse this bruise. This is a deck building bruise. And so this is called Be Queer, Do Stitchcraft. It's by Noctiflora Designs. I'll pop a photo in. This was part of a Stitch for Pride bundle from, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. And I'm stitching this. Look how beautiful that fabric is. I get distracted whenever I hold this up in the camera. It is Razzmatazz by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. Isn't it pretty? And then the stitching is in 310, and then the blue of the skein is a variegated classic color works called Auntie D's, I think. And yeah, I'm hopeful that this will get done this month, or I was hopeful that this would get done this month, and my optimism is very quickly waning. So that's okay though. It's still beautiful. It's pretty easy. I just need basically everything that's on this side needs to go on the other side. So another spool, another pair of scissors, and there's actually a needle here. And then those go on the other side and the border all the way around. And the border is just 2 rows of X's. So there's Be Queer, Do Stitchcraft. My next piece is the Forest Fairytale sale from I want it to be quarter from this lovely designer whose name I just can't get in my head. I'll get it someday, folks. Quaternion. Nope. I'm not even going to try. Okay, so I'm working still on drop number 1. Drop number 2 is out. Here, I'll show you the whole thing and then I'll fold it up so you can just see what I've actually stitched. So I still haven't finished the whole border. My plan is now to go across the top. There's cute little mushrooms at the bottom. And then I'm working on the first drop, which was Little Red Riding Hood. This is stitched on another for Fiberlicious Yummy FiberCo. Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers Lugana. One of the fabric of the months. The color is Alice's Garden, and it's $310 for the black. I think the red is $900, and I can't remember what. There's also a green, and those are the only colors in the pattern. So this is what I think since I showed it last time, I got like this basket and started working on red. Little Red Riding Hood's right here. That's like her hand. So I think I finished the wolf. I will say, look how awesome that wolf looks. Like, that's one color, and all of that detail looks super good. So I'm definitely not keeping up with the stitch along, and it is what it is. All right, so that is WIP number 2. WIP number 3, on Thursday the 13th, I pulled out All Hallows Eve sampler by Joan Elliott for some dark 13 stitching. This is a stitch along I started with Stephanie from Frala Knits. And this is where I am. This is stitched on 36 count Erie by Forbidden Fiber Co. In the black is Chalkboard, also by Forbidden Fiber Co. And what I got done the other night was this whole sleeve that this witch has. And this was very nice, soothing stitching because it was very straightforward. So good. And the yellow is also Forbidden Fiber Co. It's Aspen, I think, or Aspen Glow. It was a limited edition yellow. There's only a little bit of yellow stitching in here, so I didn't think it was cool. Okay to use a limited edition floss. I love this so much. I would like to get all of those little witches done this year, but this is a big pattern. So yeah. Just a busy month. She got maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. Was that the day Bridgerton dropped? What day did Bridgerton? The other things that have been taking up my time are the second half of Bridgerton dropped. And so I think I either stitched on this, if it came out on Thursday, or I know I was stitching on one of my new starts, which I'll show you in a minute. All right, so this is a pattern from the Tara Zane initiative on Instagram. It's called Tatrice Journal or Annual Journal, and it is a series of Tatrice motifs, and you're supposed to stitch one a day. I'm not stitching one a day, I'm just stitching them. And this is where I am. I think that's right side up. Yeah. I'm stitching this 1/1 on 25 count Cloud Lugana in the called for DMC. It is going to be the size of this hoop. And I really love stitching on this. These little motifs are so fun to stitch. There's so many beautiful Tatrice patterns out there. I've seen a number of folks stitching various things or stitching this. There's some really gorgeous versions of this pattern that are already finished. If you search, I think hashtag Tatrice Journal on Instagram, you can find some really beautiful finishes. So that's my last WIP. So you can see not a ton of progress this month. I do have 2 new starts, and they got a little bit more progress. That's questionable. So one of my new starts was a planned new start as part of 24 new starts in 2024. This is from Rebel Stitcher Designs, and she put out a booklet called Civil Samplers. So here's the booklet. There'll be a picture as well. And I decided I was going to start the one called Folding Chair. I don't know if I have a picture, so I'm going to pop this up. And it says, if they don't give you a seat at the table, pull up a folding chair, or bring a folding chair, excuse me. And this is a quote from Shirley Anita Chisholm, who was the first Black woman to be elected to the U.S. Congress in 1968. And this is where I am. So I'm stitching this on Seraphim fabrics. The color is winter woolens, and I believe it's 36 count. I might need to put this up against something. It's a light fabric. Sometimes it's hard to see. Hold on. Put it up on the project bag and see if that makes it better. There. No. Well, do I have anything white? All of the stuff in front of me, and I don't have something good. Well, we'll just make it work. And so this is where I am. I've got some of the words in. I started in the middle. And so I've got at the table and the start of the words, give you, and then a little bit on the border. And so the called for this are Classic Colorworks. I'm stitching it in some dinky dyes. I had some oops colors and they match perfectly. And so they are Ghost Gum, Title, and Midnight, but they're from an oops pack. So I don't know how they actually compare to the called, like the non-oops versions. But I think it's going to be really beautiful. And I just love how, like, what's the word? Traditional this is with a more, you know, it's not snarky, but like a more modern quote, or, you know, it doesn't say, it's not a Bible verse, right? And I think that was obviously the point that she was going for in designing these. So I do really like that. There are two other really great patterns in here. There's a Maya Angelou quote that says, the caged bird sings of freedom. And then, oh, what's his name? John Lewis, never be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. So I think I'll stitch this one, and then I'll stitch this one, and I'll stitch, I don't know if I'll stitch the bird one. I love that bird look at that bird in that cage. They're pretty awesome. So that was one of my new starts. That was the planned start for this month. I will talk about the other one when I get to plans. And let's tuck this away. The other new start that I had, I'll put a picture in here. This is the, goodness gracious, Elizabeth, the June motif for these 20 stitches, Stitch for Pride 2024 stitch along. This month's artist was Frida Kahlo. Here's the floss. It's this beautiful bright yellow. And this is where I am. I'll show you the whole thing and then I'll close in on the motif I'm working on. So this is the whole sampler. I'm stitching this on 36 count elegant from Fortnite Fabrics with all the called for flosses that were dyed for the fabric by Yasmin of KN Yarns. There's also a DMC conversion, and folks are stitching these in such beautiful flosses. I love the floss pack. The other folks who didn't get the floss pack, who are stitching this with whatever they want, they're gorgeous. So the yellow is not doing well on the lighting here. So I will try to get you, there we go. A good view. You can see there's a lot of really nice variegation in that yellow. Look at that little monkey. Also look at that, the pink one. I love the pink one, but the yellow is looking pretty good. So yeah, I don't have much else to say except hopefully I'll get this done this month. Frida Kahlo, learned a lot about her that I didn't know through the wonderful learning that Dee had put together. Also, go watch Dee's most recent Flosstube. They talk about how they are going to release this again, maybe, what week was today? The 16th? I think they mentioned like the last week of June, for folks who weren't able to get it when they released it at the end of last year. So if this is something that you are interested in stitching after you've seen folks stitch it over the last 6 months, Dee is going to make the stitch along available again for folks. So I would say follow them on Instagram, watch their floss tube, and you will be able to find out about that. They did mention that it is going to be at a slightly higher price point than folks who purchased it back in December paid. And I don't know if there'll be more floss or fabric. Not heard. Excuse me, that wasn't mentioned. Oh, excuse me. So those are my 2 new starts. So that is, yeah, that's basically all of the stitching. Let's do giveaway. Let's do giveaway winners. Okay. So I had 5 patterns that I wanted to give away to folks in my last video. Thank you everyone for all of the comments and the creative use of the words in your comments as well. They always entertain me when folks put these things together. And so let's go through them. I'm going to go through them in order. I'm going to put a screenshot of your comment up on the screen. I'm going to also hopefully not butcher anyone's names while we're doing this. No promises. And then if you would either DM me on Instagram at SavorySewing or send me an email to savorysewing@gmail.com with your address, I will get these in the mail to you. So the first one was this one. This is Boo Bash by Primrose Cottage. And the keyword was bash. And this is going to Kansas City Stitcher Samantha. And Samantha also has a floss tube. Samantha, I have not watched her floss tube yet because I just learned that this morning, but she's got some videos, so go check her out. All right, number 2 is Bloom by Heart and Hand, or Doodle Spring. I want it to be Bloom. I know I stitched this and showed you my fully finished object, I think, in my last video. This is going to Natalie Paquette. Here is your comment. And just remember this, I don't have the button for this. So this had come with a button, but there is no button anymore. It's not on my project either because it's on the floor somewhere, but it's beautiful without the button. All right. Number 3 was Starlit Snowflake from It's So Emma, so Fat Quarter Shop. And this is going to This Little Kitten Stitches. She also has a floss tube and an Etsy shop. Her name is Tanya. She makes, I was checking out your Etsy this morning, Tanya. You have some beautiful bags. The next one is Stitchy Stars, also from It's So Emma, but designed by Lori Holt. And excuse the glare. The keyword for this one was stars. And this is going to, I think if I'm reading this correctly, it's Hate to Read. And then when I clicked on your link, your name is Jen Jones. So Jen, Hate to Read, H8 to Read. Please send me your address and I will get this in the mail to you. And then the final one, I should have grabbed I should have grabbed my finish because this is just in a unimpressive looking plastic bag. There's the design. This is Garden of Dreams by Barbara Anna. This was very popular amongst the commenters. The keyword was dreams. And this is going to Vegas Girl Stitches, who also has a floss problem, only instead of purple, her floss problem is blue. And then I think was it Vanessa? Someone commented that they have an orange floss problem. So I'm glad that I'm not alone. And then maybe, we each have our collections. We can have beautiful rainbows of flosses across the world. So, all right. That is the last giveaway. Thank you folks very much. Appreciate the comments and the subscribing and the engagement on the channel. Love it all. If you all would please, again, send me your addresses either to my Instagram at SavorySewing or my Gmail email, which is also SavorySewing@gmail.com. I will get those in the mail to you. All right, so giveaways. Let's do plans. It is June 16th. There are 30 days in June, and I have not started my WIPGO calls at all. So one is a finish and one it needs 3 days. I'm not going to show those again just because I showed them in my last video, and but I do have to finish work on those. So that's on the plans. My planned new start is this one. This is this Juneteenth day by Shaded Stitchery. I have this kitted up and ready to go. I want to start this on Wednesday, which is Juneteenth. I have the day off from work, but the way work's been going, hopefully that happens. So that's the plan. I also want to just show you all, that Nuri from Shaded Stitchery also released a free Juneteenth pattern set, and these are super cute. I might also start one of these, and because I think I could start it and finish it, and then also start the bigger piece on Juneteenth. And yeah, so if you're interested in stitching something for Juneteenth, but you don't have a pattern, Nuri has designed, I think there's 5 little smalls to for folks to stitch. And I think they're all charted in DMC. Yeah, very cute. Thank you, Nuri. Those are awesome. Okay, those are my big plans. I've got, I think, I did not count, but I know I have at least 3 or 4 of my Craftivism whips that haven't gotten their 1 day of stitching. Well, I wanted them to have 2 days. I don't think they're getting 2 days. I'm going to be lucky if they all get 1 day this month, but that's okay. Actually, I can look. I have 3. Oh, okay. I'm actually not doing so bad. I only had 5, and Be Queer Do Stitchcraft got 2 days. The Tatrees Journal got 1 day, and then I need to work on Fall of the Patriarchy, my Pro-Choice Sal, and my 9-banded Pride sampler. So 2, 4. That's 6 days of stitching. So 6 days of whip stitching, 6 plus 1 new start, 7 plus WIPGO, which needs at least 3 days. So what we're at, 6, 7. That's 10 days. And then whatever it takes to finish the other one, let's give that an optimistic 2 days. That's 12 days. And there's how many days left in the month? I just said 14. I mean, I could do it. We'll see. We'll see. Of course, if I don't, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. This is cross stitch. It's supposed to be fun, right? So, I wish I could say that I've watched any Flosstube or talk about anyone I've been watching or seeing, but I will admit it has not been happening. So I love all you Flosstubers out there who I usually watch. I will catch up someday. I did see, who was it? Oh, Michelle Chinook Crafter gave herself the freedom to delete every Flosstube she hadn't watched from her watch later list. And Michelle, I feel you, because I still have some folks from videos from like January or December that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch that someday. I'm not gonna watch that someday. I should just let it go, because my watch later list is like 100 plus. Flosstube, too much content, and it's wonderful, right? Because I mean, folks are so creative and so talented, and it's lovely, but also it's just a lot. So, all right, I'm going to let you folks go. I hope that you all are having a great June and getting lots of wonderful stitching in. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Happy stitching, folks. Bye.